So does a risk-off run from tech have even further to go, Guy?
First of all, welcome back, Melissa Lee.
It is great to be back.
Right?
Great to be back.
John Sebastian.
Yeah, John Sebastian. Welcome back, Cotter. In this case, Melissa.
Melissa
much
Lee.
better than Cotter.
Much better
than Cotter.
I think Gabe Kaplan would.
I think let's talk about growth.
Let's talk about the market. No, clearly a risk-off day, and the thing that really struck me the most was the fact that yields are now below, 435, which I thought should have been support. So, flight to quality or perceived quality in the form of the bond market. Gold sells off in an environment where it should have actually done well. And then obviously these individual names. But of all the things, and the bond market's on the top of the list, the fact that the VIX probably at its highest close in a while is something I think people should pay attention to. I've thought for a while that volatility is going to be a story, and it's starting to rear its ugly head, Mel.
If you think about where the market was most concerned maybe a month ago, it was all about inflation. I think we say this a lot. What's more critical, what's more anxiety-provoking for the market? It's not inflation, it's a growth scare. And so we talked about those names that we posted at the top of the show. Those are high-growth companies, so they're going to be hurt the most. Also, very interesting that in the craziness that we've also, I think, kind of chronicled in the market in terms of some of the go-go stocks, the meme stocks, how about these levered ETFs that have been exposed to whether it's the Mag 7 or just NVIDIA or MicroStrategy? So these are places where I think there's been a lot of pain. But if you look at the data that's coming through, there's a consumer confidence report out today that was the lowest since April 21. I think consumer surveys are less important than real data in terms of retail sales, but housing, retail sales, service PMIs have all been weaker. So again, you get back to the market that we have and you look at the weakness in the Mag 7, and I'll go again straight to the semiconductors, which look like we're getting a bear cross, which look like we are back to essentially March of 2024. The places where you had the growth, the places, and this is going into an NVIDIA print tomorrow. So it's a growth scare, people. It's not inflation.
Well, it's not only a growth scare. It's also a popping of a bubble. And I don't mean the whole market was a bubble. I don't mean the NASDAQ was a bubble. But there were some very bubble-ish stocks. If you just pull up AppLovin and Palantir, these are two names that we've talked a lot about. Most investors who have been buying these over the last kind of few months or so don't even know what these companies do. They don't know. Palantir had a $300 billion.
Right.
But this was nearly a $200 billion market cap company that has been up 500% in the last year or so. Same thing for Palantir. So we're talking about a $300 billion market cap for Palantir at one point, a $200 billion nearly for AppLovin. These two stocks, if you put them up next to each other, they look identical. They both just had these blowout quarters in guidance, and the stocks gapped up 25%. They've since filled in both of those gaps. So you tell me whether it's going to find support here. There's no valuation support. There's no support as it relates to these stories in a market like this that's trading at a valuation that it is broadly. So I think when you see this sort of thing, I think it's healthy to see this sort of action come out. I think it's healthy that Bitcoin finally broke that $90,000 or whatever you want psychological level, because you still have an S&P that's up on the year, which is pretty shocking. Take a lot of that froth out of the market.
But is Meta an Applovin? I mean, we're talking about the company that everyone could find every reason to own. It was the one thing that was impervious. It's down 13.5% from that intraday high that it hit, 4 or 5 days ago after it was completing a 16-day in a row run. So it's the pain within the mega caps that I think is the most interesting. It's the fall from grace. And again, a handful of these stocks are through their DeepSeek intraday lows. So remember, we all knew where you were when you heard that news and what the market was doing. A lot of those stocks, ironically, not NVIDIA, going into tomorrow's print, which may be a concern for people. But again, all the big boys that we wanted to see kind of rally from that, they did, and they've given it back and then some.